Yunupingo. My husband was a late Dr. Yunupingo, the lead singer of Yosi Indi and the founder of Garuma Festival. I'm a mother and a grandmother. My children were educated at Yirkala School, and they are bilingual, bicultural, and literate in both Yolngu and English. The United Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, Article 14, states, Indigenous people have the rights to establish and control their education system and institutions, providing education in their own languages in a manner appropriate to their culture, methods of teaching and learning. My question is to Nova. If the ALP win the next federal election, will your party commit to resourcing and supporting bilingual programs?
Nova, well, we'll start with you. We'd like to hear from everyone else on the panel.
Thank you, Yalmay, for your question. And as you know, I have a great deal of respect for the late Dr. Yunupingu and your family. I think in your question, you already gave the answer with regards to you're a product of bilingual education. Your late husband was a product of bilingual education. Your children have been. I've travelled to 50 countries around the world, and I have seen many, many, many schools around this country that have bilingual education. Why don't we have it here in the Northern Territory? And if I know that we've spoken many times before, as I have, there is no reason and why we shouldn't have bilingual education. It's almost like we accept everything else, but we don't have a problem with who we are. We don't have a problem with our language. It's almost like everyone else has a problem. And we are denied the most basic fundamental human rights of being who we are as Aboriginal people, and with regards to how we teach our children and maintaining that cultural connection. And that is something that I would certainly, without a doubt, hand on heart, take back to the Labor Party.
Oh. Ken, we'll have to hear from you briefly because we need to hear whether that same commitment might come from the coalition.
Let me say, look, as a teacher, I used to value children who had two languages, who were bilingual, because they were bicultural and they had a richness. And when you have your own mother tongue, you learn to be proficient in speaking, talking, and reading in your own mother tongue. And then you learn to code switch. And the code switch enables you then to move between both. And certainly, I have always been a supporter of bilingual education, but it's something that I would certainly expect us to look at in the future, because if we want educational outcomes to change from where they are in this country, then we're going to have to recognise that some of our Aboriginal communities have 3 or 4 languages that are spoken by children. And we've got to work from the known to the unknown, and that is to transition them from their language into English so they can walk both lives but have the opportunity of being successful in broader Australian society.
Can we just go back to...
I mean, when I first started thinking about the schools challenge, many years ago, I went to schools in Cape York and I saw communities and families that were desperate about their languages and culture being taught in the school. And of course, the schools were trying to teach the children English and Western education and so on. And it seemed to be a fight for space, fight for time, fight for teaching resources and so on. And the way in which we've approached it with our academy in Cape York is an idea I took from charter schools in the United States, which had an extended school day. So our academy day starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and it finishes at 4:30 in the afternoon. We've got a big agenda. We want to teach 2 cultures, 2 languages. And in order to do that, and so that we're not kind of having one fighting against the other, we have to open up the time, we have to double the number of teachers, we're going to involve Aboriginal teachers in the delivery of our programs, open up the space. It means you've got to have more resources because we actually run our teachers in a shift. The guys who start at 8 o'clock finish at 2 o'clock. The guys who start at 10 o'clock go out to 4 o'clock. Now, to resource this on a scale requires us to think about how we might re-engineer after-school programs to accommodate an extended school day. But in order to be fully bicultural in English and in the language of my community, Guguyimidir, in order to have facility in both, one of the things that I'm a great believer in is that the need to extend the school day and for more resources to be put into employed teachers to enable that bicultural thing to happen.
Okay, we've got